How's it going, Knicks fans? Welcome back to another episode of Fireside Knicks. I'm your host, Dylan Backer, and I'm joined by my brother and co host, Justin Backer. And today we're going to be talking about a player that's been kind of talked about quite a lot over these past few weeks, and that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, he's made some comments recently that's kind of indicated that maybe his time in Milwaukee is running out. Maybe he's going to go elsewhere, and we're going to kind of just talk about, the Knicks' chances of maybe making a move for him. We're not saying that he's gonna become a New York Knick this upcoming season, but maybe in a season or two from now, that could all change. And we're just going to talk about the different ways that the Knicks can maybe make a move or at least start some negotiations, whether it's in free agency or in the trade market. We're going to dive into all those types of things. Not really going to talk about as much as how he'll impact the Knicks, because I think we all know that adding Giannis to the Knicks is obviously going to make them significantly better. He's one of the greatest players, really, not even just of our generation, but of all time. So, with that being said, I'm just going to pass it off to Justin and let him open this up. So, go for it, my man.
Yeah, like you said, we don't need to talk too much about Giannis as a player. We know how great he is. He's one of the best players of all time. Not much to really say about that. Now, as far as his future with the Bucks, it's kind of uncertain. Two or three times now he's kind of come out and insinuated that maybe he won't spend his entire career with the Bucks. I, for one, thought he would retire with the Bucks. You know what I mean? But recently he made a comment saying, "I'm a Milwaukee Buck, but most importantly, I'm a winner. If there is a better situation for me to win the Larry O'Brien, I have to take that better situation." Now, the way I see that is, he's basically saying, hey, I might not stay with the Bucks forever. I'm signed through, I believe, 2025 he's signed through, and he has a player option before the 2026 season. He very well could just take that player option and opt out and hit free agency a year early. So if let's say he opts in, he would hit free agency in 2026. So he could opt out of that player option and hit free agency a year early. Or if the Bucks decide, hey, we may lose him for nothing, they may put him on the open market. And if that happens, I believe the Knicks should be all over that. I don't think there's any question with that. The Knicks are well equipped to make a move like that too. They've stockpiled a whole bunch of picks. We haven't had a first round pick in, I believe, two straight seasons now. We've gone without even drafting someone in the first round. We've just kind of stockpiled picks, kind of hidden them away in a stash, waiting for someone to become available. We also have a bevy of young talent on the team. So I think they're very well equipped to do something like that. It sounds crazy on the surface, like, whoa, the Knicks trade for Giannis. Well, if he were to become available, the Knicks would be a front runner. They're one of the more well-equipped teams to make a move like that. So, that's kind of where that's how I believe. That's kind of where I stand on this. I'm sure you agree with me with this. That the Knicks are very well-equipped to make a move like that. I know we've talked about Embiid, we've talked about other superstars too. But the Bucks core is kind of getting older. It feels like their championship window is slowly closing with each year that they don't make the finals. They won in 2021. Now, this past season, they ended up getting bounced in 5 games in the first round, basically by Jimmy Butler by himself. They lost to the Heat, but we all saw that series. It was basically just Jimmy Butler versus the Milwaukee Bucks. He basically dismantled them by himself. So, the Bucks their window is kind of closing a little bit. There's kind of some tension going on a little bit. You can feel it starting to kind of creep up. Giannis is obviously still in his prime, so there's really no worries with him, but maybe the rest of the roster. So they could go any direction with this. You never know. If Giannis were to become available, the Knicks should be a front runner. They have the assets to make a move like that. And yeah, I kind of want to hear what you have to say about that.
Right. So, you mentioned just now the Knicks would be a front runner, and I absolutely agree with that. You and I have had off-camera conversations about, the chances of the Knicks acquiring just any superstar, not even just Giannis in general, but like any available star, such as like Joel Embiid or earlier in the offseason when Paul George's name was getting floated around, guys like that. The Knicks are well primed to make a move like that because, as you mentioned, they've been stockpiling all those draft picks and they have the young assets as well. I posted a mock trade on EmpireSportsMedia.com, and I'll admit the mock trade might have been a little bit less of a bit of a bargain on our side, but the trade in essence was RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 draft picks for Giannis. Now, if that's too little, maybe you can add like Quentin Grimes or something to that trade, and then that can maybe complete it off. RJ Barrett is of course valuable, but we all know he's kind of had his inconsistencies as a Knick, and maybe his role on the Knicks isn't really as good as we all thought it would be. Maybe a better opportunity for him elsewhere would be better. You know what I mean? And I also don't anticipate Mitchell Robinson staying a Knick past his contract. So maybe that is also something as to why maybe that he could get moved in a deal like that. But I'm not going to dive too much into like that type of stuff, the mock trades and stuff. It's just an idea that I floated around. Of course, when you're trading for a superstar, it's always going to come with a risk, no matter what, because you're always going to be dumping a bunch of assets for one or two guys, really. So no matter who the player is and what their injury history is or their durability, whatever, it's always going to come with a risk. Always. I just got to point that out. It doesn't really matter who you trade for; it's going to be risky no matter what. But with that being said, as you mentioned, Giannis has that player option in a couple seasons, right? You know, if you're the Knicks, you have this championship window. And I know you got cooked for saying that the Knicks are in a championship window not too long ago, but quite frankly, the Knicks are in a championship window. We all know that most of their core is tied with the team for about the next 3 to 4 seasons, right? And that core just made the postseason, made the second round, and is only going to get better from here. They're still together. I anticipate them to at least get back to the second round this upcoming season and fight for a championship during these next few seasons. Because we all know once Jalen Brunson's contract is up and he's going to want an extension, that might mean that they're going to have to let some of these guys go to be able to afford that. Because at this rate, Brunson is due for a huge extension at this rate if he continues to play at this level for the next few seasons. So with that being said, I mean, right now when you have this core with you, you got to take advantage of that and go after any available star. And if Giannis does become available on the open market, like you said, the Knicks need to be first in line. They got to be one of the first phone calls sent to the Bucks front office and say, hey, who do you want for him? What are some early offers we could give you? Because they need to do something. And quite frankly, I think this would be perfect. I think, of course, as we allude to, we're not going to talk too much about Giannis as a player on the Knicks because adding him is obviously going to make the Knicks a finals contender right away. Like, that's pretty obvious. So, something like this, you just got to do. And I saw a quote from Ian Begley last night. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. Basically, in short, what he said was, with all the available stars that are out here, it would be kind of surprising if the Knicks don't at least acquire or at the very minimum negotiate with at least one of those people, because the Knicks are, like we've been saying, they're in great position to do it. They have the draft picks, they have the young talent, always in the postseason. So why wouldn't they, add a superstar and become a true finals contender rather than just, oh, maybe they can make the conference finals? No, they want to be like, we can make the NBA finals and win the NBA finals. So if they can make moves like that, then they're golden from there. And when it comes to Giannis, it's pretty clear, like I said earlier, that his time in Milwaukee, it's not as secure because, like you said, clearly he's, open to the idea of leaving and open to the idea of, if the better opportunity is elsewhere other than Milwaukee, then I'm going to take that. And I respect Giannis for that. Giannis is someone who's been, he obviously won a championship in 2021, but he's been with the Bucks his entire career. He's been through the horrible days of when he was first drafted from them and they were a really bad team to now where they're a really good team, obviously always at the top of the East. But it seems like at times that the Bucks end up falling short. Like this past season, for example, getting knocked out by an 8 seed in the first round. Of course, I know Giannis missed a couple games, but it felt like it was a little disappointing. You felt like the Bucks should have manhandled them, and they pretty much got embarrassed on their home floor. Honestly, there's been a couple other seasons where it feels like they just fell short when they really should have dominated. So, I can't really blame Giannis here for wanting to, kind of have that idea of potentially leaving. He's in his prime. He doesn't want to waste his prime years, not winning any championships. But to him, one is clearly not enough. So he wants more. And if the opportunity is presented, he's going to take it. And if he were to come to the Knicks, I think that would make the Knicks really in great position to win the finals. The Knicks are already in a good enough position to at least make a conference finals. You had a guy like Giannis, that team is going to the NBA finals. That would be like a surprise if it would end up becoming like almost worse than the Bucks essentially. If it was like, wow, that team didn't make the finals, because the Knicks are a young team compared to the Bucks who, their roster is aging, so like all their star players are getting older. The team's not getting younger. The team's getting a little bit worse. You kind of seeing the decline a little bit with Milwaukee. With the Knicks, it's the complete opposite direction. The Knicks, it's this way. It's going up. Everything is going up. The roster, the only thing that's not up is their age and their young roster, and that's a good thing. I don't want to ramble too much though. I kind of just want to hear your thoughts on what I just said, basically. So, take the floor, dude.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said, except the mock trade. I don't think that's nearly enough. 3 first-round picks and RJ Barrett and Mitch, that's not enough for a guy that's in his prime still, who has won a finals MVP in the last 3 years. That's not enough. Anyway, I think we know that's not enough. But like you said, the Knicks roster is very young, adding a guy like Giannis, who's still pretty young. He's not even on the wrong side of 30 yet. He's still young. He's in his prime. Adding a guy like that would make them finals contenders immediately. I mean, that's obvious. And like you said too, it would surprise me too if any of these guys, Embiid, Giannis, any of those guys, if the Knicks just ignored any of all those guys, it would surprise me. Considering how well equipped they are to go acquire somebody like that. You have to expect them to be front runners with pretty much everyone that becomes available. It's not like the past where it was just kind of smoking rumors like, oh, the Knicks might get Kyrie and KD and Zion. That was kind of just, oh, well, they have money, but that was just rumors. This time, they're actually well equipped to do it. They're a very good team. They're an actual attractive destination for once. They're not the worst team in the league. So, a lot of factors play into this. And yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. It's interesting. I've always thought, Giannis could, potentially sway away from Milwaukee, considering he was, on the younger end of that roster, like we alluded to. Middleton's getting older, Lopez is getting older. The roster is getting older. They're full of, older players. So, I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. Hopefully Giannis ends up in blue and orange. That would be amazing. That would be great. I would love that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. I want to point this out too. Having Giannis on the Knicks sounds like a pipe dream, right? To many fans, it's like, oh, we're not getting Giannis. No way. It's a real possibility. I really think it is. And do I think that they're gonna get him right now? No, he ain't gonna be a Knick this season. And quite frankly, I don't think he's going to next season. But that would be nice if he could. But with that being said, I mean, there is a realistic chance that either in free agency or in the trade market that the Knicks make a move for him. It's a realistic possibility. The Knicks and the Lakers were instantly like the two top destinations for Giannis already, and he technically isn't on the market yet. You know what I mean? He's already been rumored there, and I know those high market teams are always going to be rumored first. I'm not oblivious. I know that's going to always be the case, but I think it's real. I think it's like realistic this time. I really do. I think that's realistic. The Knicks are a team like we've been saying all episode. It's a young team, up and coming team, attractive destination. They're not a laughing stock anymore. They're actually worth watching on TV and at the stadium now. So with that being said, I mean, I don't see why, the Knicks can't make a move for him. I really don't. They have the resources, they have like everything they need basically to pull it off. I think they're really out of any team in the NBA, I think they're in the best position to do it. I really do. I think they could form the best possible trade package without having to include a third team. Because I mean, look at the Damian Lillard situation in Miami. You think that should be as simple as, oh, just send him to Miami for a couple players. No, that's clearly not working. They might need to involve a third team. I think the Knicks, on the other hand, can make a move for a guy like Giannis without having to involve a third team. I think they're that well equipped. I think they have enough resources to do it. The talent level is there. They don't really have dead spots on the roster where you go, oh, I don't want that guy at all. No, they have very talented players right now at this point. So I really do think they can get it done. I really do. But with that being said, I'm curious to hear what you guys got to think about this. Oh, it's kind of just, baseless rumors at the moment because not much is really floated around with Giannis, but I think it's definitely worth talking about considering his recent comments. I really do. So I just want to hear what you guys got to say about it. Do you think he'll be a Knick sometime down the road? Do you think that the Knicks have no chance of getting him? Do you think the Knicks will even engage with him? Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. We would love to hear it. And you can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. We audio version of these podcasts are going to be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you give us a 5-star rating on those. I'm Fireside Knicks. Peace out.